Have you ever wondered what true prayer really is? Is it just asking God for what you want? Or is it about thanking Him for what already is? In our busy lives, we often spend our time asking. But the secret of prayer begins when asking ends. Prayer isn't just words. It's the silence where the one who prays disappears. It's that moment when you and God become one, like a wave returning to the ocean. To pray is to surrender, to bow in gratitude. It's about dissolving the I until only the divine remains. The lame and the blind, the king and the beggar, all discover the same truth. When you can do nothing more, when all strength fades, that's when grace descends. Surrender isn't weakness, it's the highest strength. It's the doorway through which the divine enters your life. In this satsang, we explore the deep mystery of prayer, the path of surrender, devotion, and silent union with God. Because true prayer isn't about asking, it's about becoming.
Today's profound talk is about prayer and the deep mystery of prayer. First, we must understand what prayer truly is. Prayer is not about asking anything from the divine. God has already given you everything according to your need. Prayer is simply a way to express gratitude to the divine. Even the word prayer tells its meaning. The meaning of prayer is the state where the one who prays no longer exists, where there is no other, where only one remains. The purpose of prayer is to unite with God. When you become one with Him, it means you have offered yourself completely. Then there remains no difference between you and God. When complete surrender happens, all separation ends. And whatever belongs to God naturally flows to you according to your state. Beyond that, you have no need for anything else. The state of surrender is a very great and sacred state. In another language, prayer is also called ardas. The meaning of ardas is, I have offered everything to you. I am your servant. In other words, my surrender itself is my ardas or my prayer. In Hindi, prayer is also called vandana. The word vandana comes from vedana, which means pain or feeling of suffering. You can only unite with God, you can only truly pray, when there is pain or suffering in your heart, the longing, the ache of separation. Whenever you feel pain for someone, you naturally connect with them. So, in devotion too, when your heart feels that pain for the divine, only then do you become one with Him. That is vandana, that is prayer, that is ardas. God has already given you everything, but when the right moment comes, you often do not use your inner wisdom. For example, imagine a forest caught in fire. Two beggars are there. One is lame, who cannot walk but can see. The other is blind, who can walk but cannot see. Both will burn in the fire if they remain as they are. But if the blind man carries the lame man on his shoulders, the one who can see will show the path, and both will escape the fire together. The meaning of this story is that when your life reaches such a condition, when you are helpless like the blind or the lame, surrender yourself to God. Then you become complete, just as those two beggars became complete together. Through divine grace, surrender alone can free you from your problems. True surrender arises out of deep pain or suffering. It happens only when you have done everything possible from your side, when you have made every effort, used all your strength, and reached a point where you can do no more. In that helpless moment, when you feel, I can do nothing now, that is when God helps you. This happened even in the life of Lord Buddha. For 6 years, he made every effort, practiced every austerity, but enlightenment did not come. At last, he became utterly helpless. Looking at the sky, witnessing everything, a cry of deep pain rose from within him. In that moment of pure surrender, he became one with the Supreme Power. That very dawn, he attained great enlightenment. After full effort, when you reach a point of unbearable helplessness, God protects you. In life, after you have done everything, there still comes a mysterious element, an unknown X factor. For instance, a student may prepare perfectly for his exam, but on the night before, he falls ill or some unexpected event occurs. Such unknown factors often appear in life. But when you have completely surrendered to God after giving your best, these unknown factors cannot disturb you. Even the bird named Papiha longs for a single drop of water. Its call is only for the Lord. That very yearning is its prayer to God. And when that drop of rain finally falls into its open beak, from that pain and longing, a pearl is formed. Surrender, faith, and devotion are the highest states of being. In a certain town, there was a drought. It had not rained for a long time. The townspeople decided to organize a yajna to pray for rain. Everyone gathered for the ceremony. Among them was a young boy who came from home carrying an umbrella. People laughed at him and said, "Why are you bringing an umbrella? There is a drought." Everyone mocked him. But that child had faith. Inside him was a deep longing for God. He thought, if we are performing a yajna for rain, then it is impossible that rain will not come. When the yajna was completed, it was that same boy who returned home dry, protected from the rain by his umbrella, while everyone else got drenched. Such was his unwavering faith. He believed that when he participated in the divine ceremony with so much devotion and surrender, God could never disappoint him. That was his true surrender to God, and surrender itself is the highest form of prayer. God hears prayer only when it rises from deep longing and completes your resolve. When Draupadi was being disrobed in the royal court, she called out to Arjuna and Bhima for help. She hoped someone would come to save her, but no one could. When there was no other way, when she became completely helpless and empty within, for a moment from the depths of her heart she remembered Lord Krishna. In that state of emptiness, the edge of her sari grew endlessly long, so that it could never be removed. Whenever you remember God in pain and helplessness, He never leaves you trapped, stranded. When Meera completely surrendered herself to Lord Krishna, she refused to return to the royal palace. In that deep emptiness, her consciousness merged with the divine. She dissolved into the very image of Lord Krishna. This is the supreme state of longing transformed into surrender. Those who are filled with God cannot ask for anything from Him. Even in suffering, they remain fully aware that God knows everything. To ask for something from Him would only be to insult His wisdom. When Sri Ramakrishna Paramhansa developed cancer in his throat, his devotees said, "Pray to Mother Kali. Everything will be healed." They repeated these many times. One day Ramakrishna said, "Mother Kali has told me in words, if you cannot drink water through your throat, remember that the same soul that lives in you also lives in these devotees. When they drink water, feel that it is you who are drinking." With this awareness alone, he freed himself completely from the pain and suffering. He only thanked Mother Kali and never prayed for his illness to be cured. Swami Vivekananda, on Ramakrishna's request, once went to Mother Kali's temple. But when he stood before her, he could not pray for wealth or comfort. Overcome with devotion, he returned empty-handed, filled only with divine love. Not once, but 3 times the same thing happened. Then Ramakrishna told him, "If you had asked Mother Kali for wealth, you would not have been worthy to be my disciple." Vivekananda replied, "I went to ask, but when I stood before her, I was overwhelmed with devotion. In that feeling of devotion, I received everything. My surrender itself was greater than any wealth." When Lord Krishna went to Vidur's house for a meal, Vidur's wife was so filled with love and devotion that, lost in her divine ecstasy, she began feeding Krishna the peels of bananas instead of the fruit. The bananas themselves she kept throwing away. In that state of total surrender, she could not ask for anything, she could only surrender herself. She offered even the peels with love, and Krishna accepted them with joy. This is the greatness of surrender, when love is so deep that even a simple act becomes divine. There is an old legend. A Japanese soldier was once traveling in a boat with his wife. The soldier loved his wife deeply, and the wife was completely devoted to him. Suddenly, a violent storm arose on the river. The storm was so fierce that everyone in the boat began praying to God for protection. But the soldier sat calmly, watching the storm with a smile. His wife became anxious and asked, "Are you not afraid?" The soldier drew his sword in anger and placed it against his wife's neck. Just as he was about to strike, the wife began to laugh. She said, "You cannot kill me." The soldier put his sword back in its sheath and said gently, "You have faith that I cannot harm you, don't you?" In the same way, I have complete faith in my God, that He will surely save me. That is why I was calm and happy. Just as you were not afraid of my sword, I too was not afraid of the storm of God. Because I know, if God wishes to take me back into Himself, then why should I be sad? And if He wishes to save me, the storm will stop on its own. This is the state of complete surrender, the state of oneness with God. When such a state arises in life, that itself is the highest form of prayer. True prayer is surrender. Asking with words is not prayer, gratitude is prayer. When Yoganananda's sister was gravely ill and near death, he did not pray for her recovery. He surrendered her completely to the divine, saying, "Let your will be done." Within a few days, she recovered completely, though the doctors had declared she would not survive more than 4 or 5 days. Such is the immense power of surrender. God Himself takes care of you. When you surrender, you move from the conscious state into the subconscious. The conscious mind becomes still, and the subconscious awakens. The subconscious is 9 times more powerful than the conscious mind. When a person prays, he does it consciously. But when he surrenders, he becomes subconscious, and in that state of surrender lies such immense strength that within moments he receives everything without even asking. This is the supreme power of surrender, receiving from God without asking. Guru Gobind Singh Ji, the 10th Guru of the Sikhs, sacrificed all 4 of his sons in battle. Yet he prayed only this, "O Lord, do whatever you will, but never let me turn away from righteous action. Even if my sons or I must die, let me never be afraid of doing good deeds. Let me remain steadfast and conquer through virtue. If my deeds are righteous, no one in this world can defeat me. If your actions are righteous, your body may perish, but you will always be victorious in spirit." That is true surrender to God. Whether or not you speak words, God knows everything in every form. Once, Lord Krishna was eating with Rukmini. Just as he was about to put a morsel in his mouth, he suddenly stood up and walked toward the door. After a few moments, he returned and sat down again. Rukmini asked, "Why did you do that?" Krishna replied, "A devotee was in deep distress. I was going to save him. But just then, he himself drew his sword, so I came back." The meaning of this story is simple. When you remember God in your emptiness, even for a moment, He leaves everything and comes to your aid. But if, in that moment, you take matters into your own hands, then God steps back and leaves everything to you. This is a true story. There was a king who had made the Bhagavad Gita the purpose of his life. He spent his entire life absorbed in the recitation of the Gita and had become one with its teachings. One day, he had to undergo surgery for a hernia. The doctor told him that he would have to be given anesthesia. The king refused, saying, "I will not take anesthesia in my life. Just inform me 10 minutes before the operation. I will immerse myself in the recitation of the Gita. Then you may do whatever you need to." 10 minutes before the surgery, he began chanting the verses of the Gita and completely merged himself in them. He became one with the divine vibrations of those mantras. The operation lasted for half an hour. His abdomen was cut open, yet he felt no pain at all. This is the supreme state of surrender to God. Nothing can compare to such a state. When one becomes one with the Lord, what fear can remain? The one who creates pain is the same who bears it. The one who gives all experiences also carries you through them. But when you ask things from God, even the greatest saints turn away from your door without blessing you. Another true story is about Baba Farid. At the request of his villagers, he once went to the court of Emperor Akbar. The villagers wanted him to ask Akbar for some funds to build a school and a madrasa in their village. Baba Farid did not wish to go, but at the insistence of his devotees, he agreed. When he reached Akbar's court, the emperor was praying in his mosque. Baba Farid stood behind him. Akbar was praying to Allah, saying, "May my kingdom expand. May I have more elephants and more horses." Hearing this, Baba Farid quietly turned and began to leave. Akbar saw him and hurried after him, saying, "Baba Farid, why are you leaving without even speaking to me?" Baba Farid replied, "Why should I ask anything from a beggar who is himself begging? You are asking from God for horses, elephants, and more land. A true fakir never asks from another beggar." Without another word or blessing, he returned to his village. Akbar was deeply moved. He realized his mistake. God is the giver of all, he thought. By asking from him, I have even disappointed a great saint fakir. From that day onward, Akbar surrendered himself completely to the divine and stopped making such prayers. God already sees and knows everything. What is the need to ask him for anything? If you must ask something from God, then ask only for God himself. Pray, "O Lord, come to me yourself." There is no greater prayer than this. When you ask for God alone, you receive everything. Do not ask for wealth, prosperity, or worldly comforts. Do not ask for your children's success or even your own health. God already knows what you need. If you must pray, pray only to receive Him, to become one with Him. When He comes to you, all your suffering and pain disappears. Every pain fades away, and your state becomes divine and complete. A king used to visit the temple every day. When he came down the temple steps, there were two beggars sitting on either side of the stairs. The beggar on his right would say, "You are a great king, please give me something." The other beggar never mentioned that he was a king. He would only say, "If you love God, then give something in the name of God." The king heard these words every day. One day, he told his minister, "Prepare some kheer, the sweet rice pudding, and give it to the beggar who says, 'You are a great king.'" The minister made the kheer, and secretly the king added a few gold coins into it. As instructed, the kheer or rice pudding was given to that beggar. The beggar ate the kheer with great joy, but it was too much for him to finish. So, he gave the remaining portion, more than half, to the other beggar. The second beggar ate the leftover rice puddings, and when he finished, he found the gold coins at the bottom of the bowl and took them. The next day, when the king came to the temple, he saw that only one beggar was there, the other was missing. The king asked, "Did you eat the rice puddings?" The beggar replied, "Yes, I ate half and gave the rest to the other beggar." At that moment, the king understood the lesson. The one who asked in the name of God received the gold, while the one who praised the king only got the kheer or the rice pudding. In the same way, if you become one with God, you will receive not only the kheer but also wealth, prosperity, health, life itself, and freedom from all pains and suffering. This state comes only when you truly surrender yourself to God, when you become one with Him. You can become one with God only when you enter the state of emptiness. This emptiness can come through the name of God, through the stillness of breath, through the discipline of yoga, or through mantra chanting. It depends on your inner state. Empty yourself completely. You have come into this world from that very emptiness. When you empty your mind, your breath, and your actions, you will return to that same state from where you came. You will reach your real home. Your real home is the home of the formless, the infinite, the supreme. That is the universe from which you have come. To return to that universe, you must enter the state of emptiness. Entering that emptiness is the greatest spiritual state. When you enter that void, you attain samadhi or state of ecstasy, and in that state, you become one with God. This is the highest form of prayer. This is the deep mystery of prayer, to surrender yourself completely to God. There is no need to ask for anything. True prayer is complete surrender to the divine. When you surrender, the one who prays disappears. Only God remains. When only He remains, your being takes on His form. Everything that belongs to God begins to flow toward you. To become filled with God, to be God-conscious, is the supreme state of prayer. May the Divine make us filled with His presence. May we become one with God. May we surrender completely to Him. And as soon as we surrender, Everything that belongs to God will come to us, or He will give us exactly what is right for us. Surrender itself is prayer. And to live a life of surrender, that is our true purpose. This is only possible through God's grace. Thank you.